Eric Simon. I mean, dude, I'm gonna just call you a social media expert, especially in the real estate.
And then I was always posting on people's walls on Facebook.
All right, everybody, welcome Eric Simon to the closing table. Eric is, I mean, dude, I'm gonna just call you a social media expert, especially in the real estate realm. He runs the Broke Agent account, which is taken off. How long have you had that, by the way?
9 years.
9 years, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, it didn't feel like that, but I guess that'll be great to hear part of that stuff. That's right. And he also is one of the founders of BAM Media, which I'll get him to explain that a little bit. But Eric, thanks for coming, man. Your style of humor is definitely my style of humor, which works. But I love it. And if you have not checked out the Broke Agent, I mean, even if you're not in real estate, you don't care about it. It's hilarious. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into the real estate space, and then what made you start this account that's got 500,000 follower. Is it 500,000 now? Close to it, right?
496,755 as of 2 seconds ago.
Boom. All right. You got that
it's
number.
Not the actual number, but something around there. But yeah, thanks for having me. It's nice to be at a closing table, considering I've never been to one of these before. I've used that joke before. I think I've been on another podcast called The Closing Table. Actually,
oh, really?
Or called like Closing Time, and I've literally said that exact same thing. So hey, feel free to cut that.
I'm a dad. I use the same dad jokes all the time too. So
perfect. What was the question? Was there a question?
The question was, how did you get into the real estate space? What got you in there in the first place?
Yeah, so I graduated from USC out here in Los Angeles, and then I went to my first post-grad job at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club on Sunset Boulevard, where I was their marketing assistant doing social media, posting to their Facebook and Twitter, trying to get people to go to sick shows, which were shows that were not selling a lot of tickets.
Go to what shows? What type of shows?
They were called sick shows. So
okay.
On Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights, if they weren't selling a lot, I would try to come up with some sort of social media push on Facebook or Twitter or some sort of giveaway or contest to get more people to go to the show. So that's kind of how I got my social media chops, was doing that. And then I was always posting on people's walls on Facebook, like funny content, just always using social to try to get people to laugh. This is before Instagram stories and, publishing Facebook posts to get shares. It was all about just like funny statuses, hacking your friend statuses, and like writing on people's walls. That has nothing to do with real estate, but I quit that because, I was making minimum wage at this entertainment job, and there was really no growth in that position for me besides becoming the actual like head of marketing, which I don't think was a super lucrative way to, go about my career in the entertainment business. So then I was on a hiatus for like 2 or 3 months. I was making Vines. Do you remember Vine, the 6-second video app?
Oh my goodness, yes. And that's what it was like 6 seconds. It was like 6 or 7 seconds.
6
right?
seconds. It was like TikTok before TikTok, basically.
What was the most popular Vine? I remember it was
Logan Paul was huge. King Batch was huge. There's all these, Viners that turned Instagram comedians that turned YouTubers. That turned podcasters, basically. It's like the Vine to podcast pipeline. So I was doing that. I was writing for a sports blog called Bacon Sports. I had my own blog called The Pudgy Caddy. So I was always writing, like creating content. And then I got a call from a friend who said, you should just become the temporary receptionist. Like, I see that you're unemployed. You're making Vines all day. So come be the receptionist at this brokerage in Beverly Hills called Hilton and Highland. I looked it up. It was, one of the top 2 or 3 brokerages here in Los Angeles, super boutique brokerage. They had the Altman brothers at the time, $1 million listing stars. I went to the office. I was like blown away by the charisma of the agents, the energy of the office. And then that temporary receptionist position basically became a full-time job. So I was a receptionist for 3 or 4 months, answering the phone as an asshole 24-year-old, post-grad, trying to like work on my inflection and say, good afternoon, Hilton and Highland, like trying to sound like I knew what I was doing answering the phone. And I was also kind of like a little mini assistant for a lot of the agents there, doing other work for them. And then I got hired as a marketing assistant for a top broker with the Hilton and Highland brokerage, and then eventually got my license and became a buyer's agent, where I joined a team. And that's when I started the Broke Agent, is because I was sitting open houses every Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday, dead open houses. This is back in 2015. So this is not when properties were flying off market immediately. Like, I was sitting really expensive houses in Beverly Hills that were sitting, luxury properties could sit for 2 months, 3 months. Right. And getting no traffic. So I had a lot of downtime to come up with all this content. I was cold calling, door knocking. And again, Beverly Hills is not the best place to start a career when you know nothing and you're scared of door knocking and cold calling. And you have zero confidence about the real estate market or how to articulate the message or dropping off expired listing packages. And I just hated every aspect of it and realized that I needed kind of an outlet for this humor. So I created the Broke Agent handles. I actually started with a friend at the time. I downloaded the Broke Agent on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and just started publishing screenshots of tweets of the inner monologue of what was going on in my life and as a real estate agent, and blew up pretty quickly. And now I'm talking to you.
So when you first started, that was like you were basically putting up there what you were experiencing. You weren't like even copying it from other people, or you said you were.
No one was posting stuff that was going wrong. This is 2015, right? So this is before there was even a real estate content atmosphere or economy. Agents were publishing to Instagram, but the stuff they were publishing to Instagram was, I sold a property, I just listed a property, or here's a picture of me in a suit faking a phone call with a motivational quote slapped across of it. Like, it was all grind culture, hustle culture. No one was showing their losses. There was no content out there that resonated with me. And I would scroll on Instagram, scroll hashtag realtor, scroll hashtag luxury agent, and follow all these agent accounts. And it was nauseating to me because I was like, is no one else feeling what I'm feeling here? And then I looked it up, 87%, 5 years failure rate. Call it the broke agent. There's other broke agents. In fact, all of us, most of us are broke agents. So that's why I did it.
I want to hear too the journey of like when you started it, what happened. Like, because are you producing now? You're not producing now, right?
No.
I can't remember. Okay,
never really was that much, but yeah.
Okay, so you actually, so you didn't really even go down the realm of being like full time, putting your whole effort toward that.
No, I did. There was like so I was always doing this on the side, broke agent. Okay. Like, real estate is what actually made me money. I also wrote for a cryptocurrency, I think in 2017, called Alpha Token. I was always writing blogs on the side, and then I did social media consulting like 2018 through 2021, helping other people grow their accounts. But real estate was what was paying the bills, is actually selling condos, because all my friends were first-time home buyers. All my USC friends were buying condos in their houses for the first time, starting at age like 26, 27. So that's where I was getting a lot of my business.
Got it. So, by the way, I lived in Newport Beach 2010. My wife and I had been married for 2 months through 2017. So I know that area really well.
Yeah.
Been to a ton of SC games. We would just drive up there. A lot of our friends went there. I went to Texas A&M, but when we lived there, everybody's either SC fan or UCLA, whatever. The little bacon wrapped hot dog, all that. It was a fun experience.
Yeah. I just had one of those. I tailgated against it was Washington. It was our homecoming game this year. I had one of those bacon wrapped hot dogs.
I mean, they taste really good.
For like 24 hours. They're so good.
Yep. Yes, they taste really good, but man, the day after, you feel it for sure.
You're finished. Yeah, it's a gut bomb.
And they like arrest those people too, right? Like they have to like, I see them running with their little cart across the thing if a cop comes or something.
I mean, they're everywhere, so they like spawn out of the ground, but they're really good. Yeah,
but beautiful. It's such a beautiful area.
Yeah.
So you start doing this, and then like, how did it? Which I think from my perspective, and again, whether you care for it or not, but my perspective is like, the thing that makes you feel, I would assume the reason you're so popular is because we've all felt what you have, everything you're portraying. Like, it's always like, the buyer's dad coming on the inspection, you're like, oh my God, here he goes again, the same old, or he's going to blow it up and whatever. So, and you're just so relatable with that humor. And there's really, and you're right. Like, it just feels like when you you had this 9 years ago. So I don't even remember when I first saw your account or whatever, but I mean, if you're in real estate, there's no way anyone hasn't seen it, but you're right. Like, everything you see was back, even when I've only been in real estate for 6 years. When I got into it, everything I saw was like, just sold, just listed, or a picture of you and your clients. That was it.
Yeah. The landscape of creativity back then was almost non-existent until 2018, 2019. You started to see kind of the real estate influencer pop up, especially 2020 during the pandemic, when every agent started getting on TikTok and pointing at disappearing captions. I feel like everybody was like, all right, now it is the golden age of content creation. Everybody is just looking at their phones. Everybody's locked in their houses. Now it's time to actually double down on content, start a podcast, get on Clubhouse, go on TikTok. And the creativity now is incredible in the real estate industry. Like, it's so much more fun to scroll on social and see all these agents coming up with different hooks and different ways to promote their properties and skits and music videos. And like, you know, it's almost too much. It's almost like it went from the landscape of it's all boring content and it's all just here's pictures of houses to, okay, now I'm a real estate influencer. So, you know, here's all the creative content. I'm just trying to go viral. Now where are the pictures of the houses, right? So you see a lot of people kind of trying to find that happy medium of here's the social proof, but here's the content that I want to create. And here's the agent to agent content. Here's the agent to client content. So it's all over the place right now, but I'm really happy with where the real estate industry has evolved to, because agents are good content creators and are getting super creative with it.
You know, and you know what question I've always thought to myself is like, okay, so you're in the real estate industry, I'm in the real estate industry. Are we just seeing each other's content a lot of the time? Or are we actually getting outside of that world? Because, you know, you're going to show up in my feed more because I relate to what you have, but your probably target audience is more of a realtor, whereas mine tends to be more of like, you know, either agents, I guess same thing. I mean, I'm doing that from an attraction standpoint, but also I'm hoping to get in front of clients, potential clients. So I'm always just curious how, you know, like what the world sees, because you and I both know how much great stuff is out there, but I wonder how much the public is really seeing it that's not in real estate.
Probably not that much. Like if you're just not an average person, but if you're a non-real estate agent, you're not following 50 real estate agents. Mm-hmm. And if you are, you should be, you know, admission to a hospital immediately. I don't know why you would commission to a hospital, but like, you know, we follow other agents for inspiration, referral partners. Maybe you're trying to grow your downline, whatever. Like, agents follow other agents interact with other agent content, but your client's not following 10, 15 real estate agents. So yeah, do they occasionally come across the viral real estate agent reel or TikTok that's posted? I'm sure, but they're probably just following who they work with. I'm sure they have someone in their family that's also a real estate agent. There's probably, you know, a couple of their friends are real estate agents. So the average person maybe follows 5 or 10, but I don't know. I'm pulling that number out of my ass, but they're not following 1,000 agents like I am.
Right. So tell me about the journey. You're selling real estate. You start this channel. How quickly did it go to a point where you're like, man, this is something. This isn't just, okay, it's popular, but this is like big. I mean, 500,000 is big.
Yeah. Well, that took 9 years. So that certainly did not, you know, pop off right away. This has been a slow grind, post by post. You know, it wasn't like I got one viral post and then all of a sudden this happened. This is every single day, 2 or 3 feed posts, 5 to 10 Instagram stories, growing my email list, posting, you know, a variety of content, evolving with these platforms. So it's been, you know, brick by brick with all of this for sure. I knew it had legs just because it did get popular fast in the sense that, you know, Ryan Serhant shared something really quickly, like Tom Ferry shared it quickly. I would go to conferences and wear a Broke Agent shirt and people would recognize the brand. And there was always like a really fun atmosphere around it. Like people would smile and say like, oh, I want more content. I want skits, long form. Like there was just so much room and, you know, evolution that could come of this. I had no idea what direction it was going to go in. I always thought, okay, this is just going to evolve into like a funny show, like a Curb of real estate or something. But that was like always the dream, you know, like to combat these reality shows, you have the Curb of real estate that actually shows what actually happens to a real estate agent. And just think about all those funny characters that could be in that show. Like I always thought like that's the long-term goal, but also that's such an insane young thing to think about. Like when I'm 25 thinking this is just going to become a show that's going to be on HBO. Like that's a ridiculous thing. I'm not like nearly good enough of a writer or anything, but
the fact that you were thinking that early, I mean, I don't think it's stupid to think that, because it's like there's really not there wasn't, that space was not there and it wasn't filled by anybody. So I mean, that's how stuff gets created is doing that. So I think that was great. You're thinking about that.
So, you know, the strategy was always just keep growing the brand. And I'm going to eventually think of something. Like I was very confident that I would eventually think of something to monetize this and to, you know, make this my full-time job. That didn't happen for years, right? It was all just keep growing the brand, keep putting out funny content, keep giving out advice, you know, social media advice, keep creating ebooks, keep building your email list, make sure that you're growing on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Like keep just pumping this thing, keep it going until I find kind of like, you know, I always thought I was going to like come up with some idea like closing gifts or something, like, you know, a closing gift subscription. Or I wrote a book called Commission Impossible Rogue Agent, which is a real estate comic book that I sold in 2018, thinking that I was going to sell 1 million copies of this. I sold like 5. Right? Like that was the dumbest thing ever, but it was fun. It's all part of the journey, selling merch, selling, doing kind of influencer deals with real estate brands and just figuring out a way to, really provide value to the real estate audience, continue to make them laugh, but not like tarnish the brand with like ads. Right.
Right.
So I was always very cognizant of that not to do too many ad deals at the beginning, and still barely do any. I don't remember the basis of the question. Or what the question was.
I think it's just kind of how everything evolved, and I mean it sounds like everything that's just like a lot of hard work, and a lot of times you don't know where things are going to land, but you were kind of, I mean, it seems like what you were doing before you got in real estate really meshed well with this, and that kind of set you up. And I'm sure like anything, you go down the maze, that didn't work, let me adjust, go here, whatever, and it's gotten you where you're at. Now the question is, where do you think it will take you? What do you think the long-term play is with this?
A show on HBO? No, I'm kidding. Hopefully the biggest real estate media company in the world. The goal is to grow the real estate media company. But going back to the original question, the light bulb really went off as more people were asking me how to grow on social media. Agents became hyper aware of how effective content creation could be. Like I said, 2018, 2019, that was kind of like the beginning of the content bull run, if you will, in real estate, where you'd go to a Tom Ferry conference and he would talk about being on video, but people would roll their eyes. And then eventually oh my God, I do have to be on video. Oh my God, content creation, building your brand actually is something that is a necessity. It isn't like a little side project anymore. And then once agents started, so many of my friends have built incredible real estate businesses just from creating content. So once I kind of merged those two things of humor with providing value in terms of social media marketing, where I really could explain to people how to get more engagement, how to get more followers, how to convert clients into leads, how to use lead magnets, how to build your email list, how to construct your email to get more open rates, how to, position your content to get more clicks in your Instagram stories. Like this is stuff that I'm doing on a daily basis as we continue to build our brand. So I basically started writing ebooks and blogs around that. That eventually evolved into a show called BNN, which is the Broke News Network, which was an Instagram TV show, which was IGTV, which was like the SNL of, the weekend update of real estate. And then that became the Over Ask podcast with myself and Matt Leonetti. Then I partnered with Byron. And now we have blogs and podcasts, and basically the Barstool Sports of real estate is the goal. I love it. And is what we are.
I love Barstool Sports. Yeah. And I think you guys just really, there's really not right now that I know of, there's not that much of a competition in this because it's so new, but it's, and what's crazy to me too, is that how many agents still do not embrace video. They just will not get on video. And it's eventually where it's going to be. So that being said, if you were to give an agent, the path you went, that may not be where every agent wants to go. Agents probably, their goal is, I want to get on social and to attract more clients, not, start a social media company and whatever. But if you were to get, and I know it's so complex, like this is a very complex question to go, because there's so many things from email to funnels to all that stuff. But if you were to kind of give like a few tips, tricks, hacks, whatever you would say to actually get agents to grow their presence online, what would those tips, tricks, hacks, whatever you want to call them, be?
Oh my God! Just in general, tips to grow.
I said it's very complex.
Brand. I don't know. My entire career has been based around this. How do I offer such specific advice? I would pick
general steps.
Okay, I would think like, what is your best skill? Is your best skill speaking? So could it be a podcast that you turn into clips that you then, publish to YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and TikTok to attract clients? Is your best skill writing? In that case, I would be honing in on a, hyper local weekly newsletter that you could really crush it with your clients. And your newsletter is your most valuable asset, your email list. Take today, for example, Meta shut down. So Instagram, Facebook, Threads, all down for 3 or 4 hours. And I tweeted this, like, what if this happened to your real estate business, right? And your Instagram was taken away. Do you know how many agents would be wiped out? A lot. Right. Do you know how many agents who rely on their Instagram for referrals and leads and to, publish their content and promote their listings? A large percentage of agents. So if you're a blogger, then it's blogging, and email. If you're good on video, which you don't have to be good on video, but of course you have to have video. When people land on your page, they're going to be 10 times more likely to work with someone watching a video than they are seeing a profile that just has a bunch of just sold and just listed templates. So it's really finding your lane of content creation that you are most comfortable in and that you're most effective in. So like, you don't start an Instagram show or a YouTube show if you hate being on video more than anything, right? And don't start an email newsletter if you, or don't like focus that as your main content piece if you hate writing and aren't going to send it out consistently and work on your open rate and work on the titles and use lead magnets to get more viewers. Like, you have to be super, super consistent with all this too. Like, I know consistency is like the most cliche thing ever, but this has been 9 years of me building this content and building this brand. Like, it truly, every single post that you do, every single response to an Instagram DM or to a comment, every single tweet, every single Facebook post, like all these are like little brick by brick building blocks of your brand. So it's all about also setting kind of like a content schedule for yourself that you do for 2 or 3 months and that you don't stray from. And then you look back and you analyze and you see the insights and you see what is actually getting conversions, what is actually working. Because if you just publish into the ether for 2 or 3 months and you're just posting content without any plan, or you're not looking at the actual results or engagement, then your content's not going to be effective. I don't know if that was too broad of an answer.
No,
it was kind of meandering, but I could pull it in if we, with some direction.
What I heard you saying though is basically kind of pick a track that you're going to go down and be consistent with it for 2-3 months, evaluate it as you go along and see what's working and what's not working, kind of thing.
Like a lot of people, they'll just throw up a post every single day because they're told to post, or they'll throw up a video every single day, but they're not auditing their content. One thing we always do at the Broke Agent and at BAM with all of our content is every 3-4 months, we look back and say, is this YouTube, like which YouTube video did the best? Oh, this one. It's about scripting. Okay, so scripting and objection handling are 2 pieces of content that we need to consistently hit and that we should be using in our email titles, in our YouTube and thumbnails. So let's get more guests around those topics. Like, if we just keep publishing episodes and publishing blogs and publishing memes or Instagram posts that are getting no engagement or that aren't moving the needle, then what are we doing? Like, my partner Byron Lazine, who I partner with BAM, he always says we're not a museum of content creation, right? Like, as a real estate agent, you shouldn't think of yourself as, look, there's 3,000 posts and all the thumbnails match and my feed has all the same colors or something like that. Like, no one cares about that. They care about the actual content.
Yeah, I mean, so that's another question is, you're right. I mean, I'd love to really even dive in more into that audit process of how you look back and go, because, my small channel, like, as we've started growing, and we really started getting serious about it probably about a year ago, real serious. And like, where we're looking at numbers and looking at whatever. What's funny is that the stuff that I don't necessarily want to get more engagement or, views or whatever does, and the stuff that I don't really care about, the stuff I want to doesn't, and the stuff you get what I'm saying. But like, from an auditing perspective, I mean, besides what you just said, is there any other special tricks that you're doing to kind of like look back and go, what should I do? What works? What doesn't work? Whatever.
Yeah, it depends on the platform of what data you want to analyze. But if it's Instagram, if you have a business or creator account, you could swipe up on every post and view your insights and see, is this getting shared? Is this getting saved? What's the viewer retention? Are people dropping off at 10 seconds, but the video is 50 seconds long? Then what did you do at 10 seconds to turn people off? Or like, what didn't you do, right? Are you not changing the background enough? Are there too many ums? Are there not enough cuts? Is it not quick hitting enough? Like, is no one watching your video? So then where was your hook? Was your hook in the middle that should have been brought to the front? Or do you need to reframe your videos for a hook? Or maybe the audio is too loud. Like, every single post I look at, whether it's a carousel post, a reel, or a feed post, and I look at the shares, I look at the saves, I look at the likes and the comments, and I try to craft posts around these different metrics. So if I want a bunch of comments because I want a bunch of people to come to a webinar to download an ebook, then you have to craft a caption that initiates those comments. So you either ask a question, you use an emoji that points down, you have like an intriguing hook with one of your carousel slides. I know I'm probably talking too quick about all this, but like,
no, that's perfect, man.
That's just Instagram. YouTube, you're looking at retention, you're looking at click-through rate, you're looking at how many people discovered you off platform versus on platform. If all of your traffic is coming from your email list or your Instagram, that means people aren't discovering you organically on YouTube. That's a big problem. You don't want all your traffic, 70% of your traffic coming from social media, because then that's people just clicking on the video that are probably going to drop off after a minute, as opposed to people actively searching for it, right? So if they're not actively searching for it, your titles suck, your thumbnail sucks. If it's email, you go in your title, like, MailChimp, BombBomb, whatever your platform is, Beehive, I'm sure they have any sort of analytics where you could see what's your open rate, what's your click-through rate. Then you could differentiate when you send the email. You could differentiate your titles. Is it too short? Is it too long? Are you using different emojis? Like, these are all stats that I look at every single day. That's why our content performs well a lot. Right? Like, it's why the Broke Agent account, you don't go on it and there's a post with 100 likes and then there's another post with 10,000. It's like, they're all kind of, there's obviously a wide range, but I get, because I'm in it so much and I'm posting so much, you start to get like a muscle memory for what's going to be good. Just like anything. If you're golfing, you start to know, you have an 80-foot putt and you golf a lot, you know how far to take it back. If you never golf, you're going to swat it, 50 feet past or just hit it 10 feet short.
So for the person, say it's a small business owner, a real estate agent, whoever it might be, that's like, all right, what you're doing, I can't even imagine adding that much time into my day to be able to focus on that. What is there a way to outsource what you just said? I mean, just getting a social media manager? Is it?
No, getting a social media manager for a real estate agent is a disastrous move. Unless you're like a Tom Ferry or someone that can allocate, or someone who could actually study you and replicate your voice, you're just ripping the authenticity and originality out of your content. Like, I know a bunch of agents, I don't know them personally, but we talk, in our masterminds or in our community where they are a social media manager, they have someone that's running their team pages. You can't capture any sort of, personality in that. If you have someone that's just publishing a post and trying to come up with the caption, but they're not the actual person, all life gets sucked out of the post. Like, when you read a Broke Agent caption or you see a Broke Agent post, you hear me, you see me, and you're like, oh, that's coming from that guy. Like, I recognize that voice. Once you start to lose that voice, you're finished with your content. In terms of not having the time to look at your analytics, it takes 2 seconds. Like, I know it's easy for me to say because this is my full-time job, but like, you go on Instagram, you swipe up on your post, you look at your insights, it takes 2 seconds.
Got it. I like it. I mean, I'd rather hear the honest answer than just like hey, that's good. I mean, it's good to hear. So on content creation, I'm assuming, like right now, you've reposted one of mine before. Like, I'm sure you get lots of people that are like, hey, check this out, whatever. And maybe it's a little bit easier now than maybe it used to be. But you were a writer before you even got into real estate. So you obviously have the mind of that. How would you suggest for people to come up? I mean, it's a very hard question again. Very complex question, but any tips, any tricks on content creation? How did you come up with when you started, which sounds like it was more like real life examples, but translating that into what resonates with other people. I'd just love to hear any thoughts on content creation.
I mean, the best way is from your personal experiences. Like, that's when the realest content's going to come out, the storytelling, the sitting in your car, the organic content. Hey, I'm on my way to a showing. Here's what just happened on this phone call. Here's how I just closed that deal. Hey, I just finished an inspection. It's a termite inspection. Here's what a termite inspection is. Here's what a termite inspection costs. Here's what happened in the process. Like, that sort of content will just crush and be more natural than anything because it actually happened to you. That's always the content that's done best for me. As I've got out of the business, it's way harder to replicate that content. Thank God I have so many agents sending me stuff now that I could still kind of capture the essence of the agent struggle. But for years, it was just me in my shower coming up with stuff because it's like, here's what happened to me that day. Here was the buyer's dad, or here was an awkward interaction that happened at an open house. Something that's really effective for me is looking at the calendar and seeing what's coming this month, right? It's March 5th today. So I look at the calendar, end of February, I create a March content ideas for agent blog. And then I also think about how this is going to be for my content. What's coming in terms of the real estate market? Is it going to be a spring market? Is the weather getting better? I know these sound like stupid, simplistic things, but your content should not be created in a vacuum of, I'm just going to post this no matter what's going on around me, right? Like, I should be able to look at your page and differentiate winter of 2022 from summer of 2023 and see your different stats or your different articulation of content about the moment that you're in, right? Your content should be about the moment you're in. It's called trend jacking. So I'll look,
called what?
Trend jacking.
Okay,
So it's hopping on like pop culture trends or hopping on something that's timely, right? So if it's the Super Bowl, I'm creating content around the Super Bowl. If it's March, it's March Madness, it's the Oscars, the Academy Awards, it's spring training. My brain kind of works in sports, but it's like all these events that are happening that I could create content around, because that's when your content gets that extra boost, and that's when people are going to consume it, is they're on their phone watching the event happen, and then you come up with a piece of content around that in real time, or you plan content around that in real time. St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. I don't care about St. Patrick's Day, but you bet your ass we're going to have some sort of content about St. Patrick's Day because other people are experiencing that. So you look at your content.
I've noticed you've done that on your. I mean, I see it every time. Like it's like a holidays or whatever. You're somehow bringing real estate and that whatever it is and putting in there. Have you ever seen this the social media channel 30? I am 30 AF. It's bad. I don't. You look young, way younger than me, but
I'm 34. I just turned 34.
Okay. So you need to follow it. It's good. It's basically like the context of what happens in your life. It's all memes and stuff after you're 30. And like whoever runs that, I don't even know who runs it, but it's really good because one style that, and it's similar to you, maybe there's a technical social media word, strategy word for this, but she'll do, like today was airlines. So she did, like one meme she had is, I'm the type of person, or why don't they have two lines? One for people who go to the airport and one people who've never been to an airport, like through security, but like she does stuff like that. But then she had like 6 carousels of all things to do with the airline, and you've kind of you do that too, and it isn't necessarily have to do with the holiday, but it just might be a theme or something, right?
Yeah, of course. I always do stuff like that. If it's Father's Day, if it's Mother's Day, if it's Easter, if it's Hanukkah, if it's Christmas, if it's
but I'm saying you've done things where it's not even a holiday, it's just a subject or whatever,
like if it's a buyer's agent's, the struggle of buyer's agents, or it's cold calling memes back and forth. So yeah, that's exactly how agents should look at their content. If you're doing a carousel, the carousel has to either tell a story or has to have some sort of common theme. For me, it's a little easier creating memes. I could have a bunch of random shit out there, and it doesn't really matter because it'll get shares. But for agents, you also need to look at your content too. Like if you do have a common theme, you don't want to hammer that same theme over and over again. Like variety is super important, like variety of posting style and variety of actual content type. So if you're doing a bunch of market updates in a row, people are going to start to tune out. You got to mix in storytelling and proof of business and humor and maybe a little agent to agent content. Like you don't want to just hit the same subject over and over and over again. Just like I don't want to post the same type of reel or buyers, dads at inspections. Imagine if I posted that 6 days in a row. You'd be like, what the hell is the matter with this guy?
Right. One subject that I feel like is hard to do, at least I haven't seen it, and maybe it's just it needs to go away. I don't think it needs to go away, but it's the agent performance thing. It's like, hey, I want to show you I'm credible, and I want to show you I can do, because the old way was just sold. Who cares? Like, what does that mean to someone when you just see another house? A house to sell every day. But any thoughts or ideas on how to actually, whether you're in real estate or small business, whatever, how do you show your, bring credibility to your craft in a unique way, that rather than going, here's what I did, I'm the top 1.5% realtor in US or whatever,
Well, the storytelling really helps, right? How you closed the transaction, how you brought the buyer to the table, how you negotiated for your client, like that sort of storytelling, whether it's done in the actual caption of a just sold post where you show your clients and you show the house, but there's a story in the caption, that just makes the post so much more believable and personalized and consumable and shareable, because you're like, oh, I see how this person solved a problem. Just like when you hit a landing page to some subscription or something that you want to buy, when you see that problem being solved, that's when you're more likely to like opt into that. Another way is to do the carousel thing. Instead of doing a just sold every single day or every single week, you have, here are my wrap ups of houses I just sold. Here's the wrap up of just listeds or the in escrows. So you kind of, have a day for that, or you include it in your Instagram highlight section. But I think having a story that you could craft around your content is probably the most effective.
We've got a few more minutes here. I want to be respectful of your time. Any other tips, tricks? Because do you use trending audio? I don't even think you use trending audio. I mean, for agents, it's a big deal. Trending audio, hashtags, keywords.
Yeah.
How does that help?
Yeah. So trending audios were really effective when Reels just came out, right? Like you could basically use a trending audio and it would work as like a really potent hashtag that would promote your content around anyone else that used that trending audio. Now, not as much. It still can help a little bit, but you never want to have an audio that conflicts with your actual content. So say a Taylor Swift song is trending and you hear the lyrics of it, you're not going to have that and just some market update where the lyrics are so bothersome where you can't even hear what the person is saying, right? The audio always has to add to the content. So I will use an audio if I'm doing an Usher meme, right? And it's around the Super Bowl, I will use an Usher audio under that because that makes sense. It adds to the content. It creates humor around the content. Or I will use some sort of audio that just goes with the meme or with the post. So I would use audios if you're posting a clip or something and it emphasizes the clip or makes the clip more entertaining, or maybe it drowns out some of the ums or the transitions and it just adds to the experience of the clip, that's when you use it. But to use a trending audio just thinking like that's going to give your content a boost at this point, I don't think it matters that much. Hashtags, use 3 to 5 very specific hashtags that are specific to that post. If you're doing an open house in Santa Monica, you're not going to do hashtag real estate. You're going to do hashtag Santa Monica, hashtag Santa Monica open house, hashtag open, just stuff that's very specific about whatever you're posting. So you would still use hashtags today because there's rumors out there like hashtags are pointless now. I mean, use 3 to 5. Again, this isn't something that's going to explode your content. It's just something that could, help categorize your content for people who are searching for these hashtags. It can help put your content in front of the right audience. But also don't do it every post. Mix it up. See what works. Go to your insights and actually review. Before, you could go to your insights and see how many followers you got from hashtags. It was really cool, but now they don't care about that. When it came, keywords, Instagram is becoming like an SEO search tool, right? So a lot of people are searching Houston real estate. In that case, you have to have Houston real estate in your Instagram bio. The more you include Houston real estate in your Instagram captions, the more you include these keywords, the more your content's going to pop up.
Okay, just a few more questions. Some of these will be really quick. Are you figuring out any ways to integrate AI for what you're doing? And
our video team is using AI for things. I don't know. I'm using ChatGPT a little bit for sure for content, more for content brainstorming and to help me with email titles and not Instagram captions, but email titles, YouTube titles. And if I'm brainstorming content, I'll say, hey, what are some content ideas for real estate agents around St. Patrick's Day, but make it funny. I don't use ChatGPT every day. I know it's a resource that I could be using way more, but I'm not going to sit here and pontificate like I know what the hell I'm talking about with this.
I don't think ChatGPT is funny though. I've tried.
Oh, it's not funny at all. It's just like it serves up a little brainstorming thing. Exactly. It's not funny.
I feel like ChatGPT is literally the worst dad jokes ever. Whenever when I'm like be funny, it's just like I should make a little meme about how bad it is.
Yeah, it's awful.
Okay, cool. And then where do you see again 2015, this was not a thing. Okay, and now the real estate influencer was not a thing, and now it's kind of becoming a thing, or it is a thing, and whatever. Where do you see it in 10 years from now?
Like the real estate influencer?
Or just real estate and social media. Where does it go from here?
Oh man,
I know it's a good question.
I gotta think about that. Where does it go from here? I mean, it goes. Real estate kind of, or social media kind of is like a pendulum where a year ago everything was the most short form thing possible, right? It was the quickest clip, the quickest hook you could possibly do. And how do I capture someone's attention? And how do I just do something and finish the video in 5-6 seconds? Then I feel like people kind of got over that. And now people are kind of yearning for more education-based content, right? Like they got sick of the entertainment or the pointing at captions or the TikTok styles or the trending audios. It felt like this weird dystopian hellhole that we were all in when you're scrolling on Instagram. It's all these colors and everyone's dancing, popping up. Like that has now shifted to more educational content with the market, right? Like, in a 2020, 2021 market, when interest rates are at 2.5%, 3%, everyone's buying. You could literally post a picture of your own ass on Instagram, and then your listing would sell for 20% over ask. I don't know why I chose post a picture of your ass, but my point is anyone with a pulse could sell anything. But now, because people are more aware, especially of the real estate agent, with commission lawsuits and everything going on with NAR, like they want their agent to provide more value. They don't want a clown that is just producing content to get affirmation from other real estate agents. So 10 years from now, I don't know where that's going to be. I don't know where the market's going to be. And I don't know what social media is going to look like. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of augmented reality. I have no idea. I don't know the answer to that question. Delete this entire clip. I said nothing of value right there.
These are just fun questions. I'm curious, having so many, you put out a freaking lot amount of content. What has been your all-time favorite piece of content, or what one has gone the most viral?
A stupid Drake meme about not liking people in your office went the most viral. I think that got like 15 million views. But that meme, just like you said, where it's like the content you put the least amount of effort in does the best. That thing took me 2 seconds to make. There's been content that, YouTube videos we've made and podcast episodes and interviews with Ryan Serhant, or I used to do like a couple of real estate rap videos back in 2015, 16, or I hired this guy, John Rudnitsky, to do an actual skit. He was on SNL. Like there was so many different building blocks to these pieces of content. My favorite pieces of content, I don't even know. I'm trying to think like what I even like doing anymore. I hate all of it right now, to be honest. It's all just like going with the motion, but the satire content I've always really enjoyed. I used to write kind of Onion style pieces when BAM first launched about like fake occurrences that were happening to real estate agent. I had one that was about, the degenerate in your high school who used to like huff paint behind the bleachers just got his real estate license. And I don't know, whatever that title was, it was perfect. And it got like thousands of shares and is still our best performing piece of content on our blog, which is pretty funny. Yeah.
And the other thing I think you do as well is like you have the ability to really offend a lot of people because, whether it's the buyer's dad, whether it's the agent who takes himself way too serious or whatever. Have you had any stories like where someone really got pissed at you for posting something? It was pure fun.
Mostly on like Bad Real Estate Picks, which is another account because you're kind of exposing bad marketing.
Right.
There's been a couple times where I've had agents like reach out to me or call me or even like threaten to me that they were going to talk to my brokerage or something for posting stuff. But I'm very careful to not expose real estate agents. Like I'm not here to take away from that's not my game. My game is making fun of what's happening to us in the real estate business. Yeah, nothing too crazy has happened from that perspective besides people telling me to take down posts, or if I post a piece of content that's similar to someone else's and they think I either copied it or didn't attribute credit to them or something like that. But other than that, nothing besides like a couple of death threats when I posted a pro-Israel post on my Instagram story because I'm Jewish. I have family in Israel. So I posted this like right after October 7th. I lost like thousands of followers and I got a bunch of people telling me to kill myself. So that was sick.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to include that in this episode.
No, it's real. I think that's all good. Well, hey dude, I really appreciate your time.
That's how we're going to end it right after that.
Yes. Boom.
Okay. Perfect.
Israel. Boom. If there's an agent out there, explain BAM real quick and then maybe just how that might be beneficial to an agent or whatever.
Yeah, go on nowbam.com. BAM is our media company. It is, the broke agent evolved. I started this with Byron Lazine, #1 agent in Connecticut, podcaster, brilliant guy that I'm working with. It's 4 or 5 blog posts a day. It's 6 or 7 podcasts. I don't know the exact number. We have a massive email list that we send super educational, entertaining content to. We have exclusive creators who create content for us and with us. We have a bunch of ebooks and resources. We have BAMX, which is our private membership. We have courses and trainings on everything that I'm talking about today in terms of how to actually grow your brand and convert followers to clients. Like we talk about how to use ManyChat and how to get more engagement in your Instagram story and how to position your content on your Instagram and Facebook and whatever to actually like convert these leads into followers. Our goal is to become the #1 media company in real estate. We saw a lane when we looked at the media landscape back in 2021, 2022, and noticed that the powers that be in the real estate world, the legacy media companies, weren't really evolving with the times in terms of creating social first content. We looked at Inman News and Housing Wire, which is doing a great job of it now, and Real Deal, which also does a good job of it actually. But I was like, where are the clips, right? Where are the Instagram videos? Where are the podcasts? Where are the way that I like to consume social? I understand you have a bunch of blogs behind the paywall, you have events, but where's the actual content that gets served to me, right? Like I get my news by going on Twitter, by going on Instagram. This is probably maybe not the best way to do it, but I get them served to me in clips. I get them served to me in video. So we're a social first real estate media company, and we're not afraid to be edgy, funny, or insulting. And I think it's been great. It's all of our content super educational and tactical, and it's by people that are actually doing it. It's not, a bunch of people pontificating on a panel that bought a bunch of followers. It's people who actually have built brands and successful real estate businesses that are contributing for us and writing for us.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again, Eric. I appreciate it. You're awesome. And hopefully we see you down the road, and keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.